We knew that Amazon was at least thinking about it. We'd heard that. But I must say, I was not prepared for it. Was the real estate community prepared for it? Did this surprise you at all?
Well, I think we all had a sense that something was in the winds, but we were hopeful. We started seeing a much more forceful response by community leaders, Reverend Taylor and April Simpson, who runs the NYC Queensbridge Housing. They started to organize, and they had a press conference earlier this week. Some people went up to Albany to present their case about why they wanted these jobs and why it was important to have Amazon come to Long Island City, because it was about jobs. It was about creating opportunities for people, not just in Long Island City, but throughout this, throughout New York. And so, yes, it was very, very disappointing. But I think, there's an article in the New York Times that just came out, why tech could keep gaining ground in New York even without Amazon. And so we're very positive about the fundamentals of New York. You have Google, Facebook, and other tech companies. Your company, Bloomberg, just renewed its lease in Midtown Manhattan. So there is tremendous growth. Opportunities. And why was Amazon coming to New York? Because it's the talent, the connection to universities, culture, all the things that are so important for our city.
Right.
And we'll bounce back. We've bounced back before. We've gone through a whole bunch of other situations, 9/11, Sandy, physical crises. So we're optimistic. We're gonna keep moving forward. But it was definitely a missed opportunity.
So, Bill, you make a case for why it made sense for Amazon to do this. What went wrong? And whose fault is it in retrospect?
Well, unfortunately, I think there are a lot of people that that stood up and I think gave out inaccurate information. They were passionate on their points. Some points were legitimate. The question about infrastructure and transportation, but those were going to be addressed. Amazon was going to create open space. They were going to create public schools. They were going to create training facilities and reach out into the community. Unfortunately, that story got drowned out by a lot of loud voices when the polls indicated, and you've talked about it before, the city, people in the city wanted this opportunity to have Amazon here and all the jobs that were going to be created and the economic impact that was going to go on for generations. And that's really the sad point, that people in this community wanted this opportunity. And it's gone, but as I said before, we'll come back. Other companies will fill the void, and we'll keep moving forward.
Well, New York always comes back. At the same time, how big a hit is this for the real estate community? We talked to Joe Sitt recently, and he said that, in fact, there had been some overbuilding and that Amazon coming in would really be a big help. Listen to what he had to say.
We were the first to come back from the Great Recession. We got a little bit too drunk. We overdid the punch bowl. We overdid it. We overbuilt. We thought that there was more depth to the market than there actually was. We've had so much pain here that them coming into the market is just creating a floor and going to create a floor of activity to fill back some of those apartments, and I don't think creating overheating.
So what about it, Bill? Have we now taken away that floor because of overbuilding? Did we need Amazon right now to soak up some of that excess capacity?
Well, first of all, Amazon initially was going to be a few thousand jobs, and Citibank's moving out and going back to Lower Manhattan. Of course, we need them, but I think we'll find other people to fill that void. I mean, I've been on your show, talked about our project in Brooklyn, not too far from where Amazon was going, and we have very good activity going on. And I don't think this is going to stop people who want to be in the city and want to grow in the city. And it's going to be, I think, probably more organic. It's not going to be the 25,000 plus jobs. It's going to be, at smaller tranches, but that will still have a positive impact. And yes, there's a significant amount of residential opportunities in Long Island City, but that just creates opportunities for people to have better pricing, and I think those apartments will fill up. Macy's just made a major commitment in Long Island City to. They had initial few 100,000 feet, and they just added 300,000 or 400,000 feet more.
Well,
so.
Bill,
Yes.
I was going to say, Macy's, though, already being in New York City. So if you're a tech company or another company that's not in New York yet, do you have the incentive to come and want to build here?
Yeah, well, one of the things that really got lost in the translation, so to speak, was a significant amount of the incentives that Amazon was getting are all as of right. There's a REAP benefit if you have no presence in the outer boroughs and you move people into the outer boroughs. You get that as of right, and that's what Amazon was going to get. So any company that wants to come into the city and move into the outer boroughs, which is continuing to diversify in terms of its economic base, will get a significant amount of incentives. And you saw Lower Manhattan at World Trade Center, Diageo moving from Connecticut. They're coming down into the city. So I don't think it obviously does not send a good message, but I think there are enough strong voices out there to talk about the city, talk about its strengths, and I think companies understand that. That's why Google and Facebook and all these other companies are growing here.
Bill, is this a one-off, or does this say something that other companies want to come to New York City about the politics of the situation? You referred to the politics. Things seem to be shifting. We have some people maybe on the populist side but really want to resist these special arrangements made for companies coming in.
Well, there's no question about it that there is a shift. But hopefully there's lessons learned on all sides of the party that there has to be constructive dialogue and addressing the concerns of the community, which I think were being discussed, and that it's not a zero-sum game. People have to understand that to create jobs, you need to invest. And Amazon was bringing incredible amount of jobs, full range, union jobs in terms of construction workers who were going to build these buildings, the cleaning service companies that were going to work in the building, and so some of those issues were being addressed. And I think that it just shows again that we can't. Everybody was talking about it's New York; they're going to come here. You have to have a constructive dialogue, and the people who got hurt were the people in the community who wanted these jobs, and their voices were just starting to get raised, and that's the sad part that those opportunities have been lost.